Let's go.
It's 9 o'clock. We're on time.
What is up with that? Oh, whoops.
My plan works. My plan works.
I have a feeling that someone pushed the wrong button. He may have to restart this. There we go. Did you hit the wrong button?
I didn't hit the wrong button. I was on the wrong browser, though.
So let me just. I didn't hit the wrong.
Wow, I'm off to a great start as usual.
It's very professional. Very professional.
Very professional.
We'll get lots of viewers.
All right, now I think we're live. Hey, all righty, how about that? Wow, there's always something that comes up right at the beginning. First of all, thank you for being on time this time. So, hey, there's Tony's board live.
Hi, Tony. What do you mean being on time? You've got to remember the message takes longer to get to me. I'm across the ocean. It's just down the road for the OG.
Yeah. Way out in Seattle, aren't you?
Yep. Left coast. The loony left coast of America.
And merry old England, you see. Just outside.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't have guessed.
Well, let's just do quick intros here. For those of you who don't know, I'm ID Jester. I run the ID Jester YouTube channel. We do wargaming, all kinds of fun stuff here on my channel. And we also run the Tack Up Wargaming YouTube channel. So come on over and join us and have a good time. So if you guys want to just introduce yourselves for anyone that might not know you guys.
Shall I go, or I'll get mine over with?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Rough Swordsman Wargamer. Been doing this just over a year, and just bonkers. I love it. So I've got a YouTube channel called Rough Swordsman Wargamer, and like to put up playthroughs, unboxings, and all that sort of thing. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Devin, the OG, the original Grognard. Yes, I like saying that all the time. It's kind of big. People expect it. So, yeah, I'm Devin. I am the OG, the original Grognard. I got a little YouTube channel called The Original Grognard and a little Facebook group called The Original Grognard. And I do wargaming, usually not real well. But I have a lot of fun doing it, and people seem to enjoy it. So, there you go.
We certainly do. We certainly do, Devin.
Very good. So, we got a lot of things to talk about, and who knows where it'll lead again. Trying to keep Rough Swordsman focused is like, trying to get a mouse through a maze, and it never happens. But OG, so for those of you who don't know, I just have to show you everyone this. So
I have a feeling I know what this is.
Yeah. I didn't let's see, how do I I know what I gotta do. I gotta
share screen.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh God, yes.
Look at that.
Look at that. Who's that dashing young man there?
Look at that. Wow. Look at that, huh?
I was not intending that to be the face of the cover of the game. I actually really wasn't sure I'd be comfortable being the face, but David decided, no, you're going to be the face of the game.
Okay. I know when you guys introduced it in your last live stream on the Lock and Load channel, I put in a message that I really liked that cover, but I'm not sure you guys actually saw it or not because it was towards the end of the live stream. But
sometimes when we're doing the videos, I'm usually paying attention to what's happening with YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitch. So I don't get a chance to see a lot of the comments. So a lot of times they skip by me. So I apologize for that. We don't mean to overlook anybody's statements or comments. And if we could, we'd highlight all the best ones we could. I'm usually running so much stuff behind the scenes that you don't see that I don't get a chance to pay attention to the chat. So I apologize about that.
That's okay. That's totally on. I know you got a lot going on when you're doing the live stream and stuff. So, but man, I really, really think that cover looks good. I don't know who did the cover art on that.
That was Ivan Serreris. He's our new artist that we've got that we picked up. he's got a style very similar to David Julian, and one of the reasons why we really liked him is because the two art styles are so similar. David's been a little bit busy with some stuff, so he hasn't been able to do as much work for Lock and Load Tactical as we'd like. So we had to go out and find another artist. And Ivan is actually from the Canary Islands, and he's an accomplished tattoo artist. He's an accomplished artist, and we really love his work. We just think he's been doing a phenomenal job with it. So yeah, that's our buddy Ivan.
Yeah,
looks good.
When is the release of that game coming out?
Yes, yes, we are going to be. The problem we're running into right now, and we have got like 8 games stacked up that are ready or within, just this close to being Kickstarter ready, but we're having problems with the printers in China. And because of the geopolitical climate and the trade wars that's going on between China and America, and it's not so much the printer, the guy's name that we work with is a guy named Pride, and he does a phenomenal job. I mean, you've seen the counters and everything that he's done for World of War, Lock and Load, all the other World of War games. But the geopolitical status is we're not really sure that we can get the counters and the maps and everything in a timely manner back from China. So what we're doing is we're trying to find an American printer that can do the quality and the low price that we're used to from China. What we have been looking at is maybe home printing the maps here in the States, because that's something relatively easy we can do in the States. But the counters, we haven't been able to find anybody else in the States that can do the counters like China does. We could print the counters and have them fly them to us, but it's going to increase the price a lot, because the problem we had last time with World at War was the shipping is that it got loaded in China and it was supposed to come straight to the States, but yet spent almost a month meandering around the Pacific Rim and then up to Canada before it finally got to us. And then it had to be shipped. It was the containers were taken off the ship to China, shipped to Cleveland, sat in Cleveland in customs. Why they did the customs in Cleveland, I have no idea. They had to go through there. Then that took about another 2-3 weeks to go through. Then they had to be unloaded to a truck and then shipped to Pueblo. It was just, it took too long for us, in our opinion. And we just would like a more stable way of getting the counters to us. So we're still looking at, do we want to commit to going with China with these next releases? Can we find someone here in the States? So we've got a lot of stuff that's ready to go. It's all up to the printers, really, finding the right printer. And, even if we were to go with China right now, there's no guarantee we'd get the stuff by Christmas. I mean, that's just the way it is over in China right now, and just the whole geopolitical events that are going on. So, yeah, we've got Heroes Road to Stalingrad. We've got Space Infantry Federation, which is a State of Siege style game. So that hopefully, for people who know what a State of Siege is, this is going to be a State of Siege game set in our Space Infantry universe. Sean is just about done with Point Blank, which is an upfront style man-to-man card game, World War II. We've done a few videos on that. Mo is diligently finishing off Test of Strength, Trial of Strength. Trial of Strength. Yeah, it's a remake of an old SSI game. Really good operational Barbarossa front. That's almost just about ready to be done. Lock and Load Space Infantry Tactical is just almost about ready as well. We're taking the Space Infantry Resurgence era and we're sticking it in the Lock and Load Tactical universe. Blackwell's working on that, and that's just about done. What else have we got? We've got a couple other titles that are just about on the cusp, but it escapes me right now. And after that, we're also looking at we haven't really come up with a name for it, but Africa 2 for Lock and Load Tactical. Gina is working on that. She's a fantastic designer. She's done work with GMT before, and she's doing North Africa 2, basically focusing more on the long-range desert group and the SAS operations in North Africa. After that, we're probably looking at Pegasus Bridge for Lock and Load Tactical. The map for that is done. The playtest map for that is done. The scenarios are all mostly done in my mind. I just need to do the counter counts for those, and so that'll be next year probably. What else have we got? We've got a few other things.
Anything, excuse me, butting in, anything for Nations at War? I think there's some new...
Yes. We have 2 titles that are in the works for Nations of War, Tigers in the Mist and Streets of Stalingrad. I think those are the two working titles we have right now. Sean, he's going to kill me for this. We got a Shane and we got a Sean, both that do stuff for the company. I can never remember which one's which, but the guy who's designing Point Blank, we'll just leave it at that, is also our guy who does the Nations at War stuff. And he's also done, he's doing Old School Tactical. So he's a little bit busy with things right now. Okay. But there is works for a Battle of the Bulge Nations at War and a Stalingrad Nations at War that we're working on. Maybe not until next year, because like I said, he's really packed. He's having a lot of fun with Old School Tactical right now. I think so. He's been focusing on that, and he's trying to get Point Blank all completely finished off. And as the last I heard, it was just about there, just like most everything. So yes, there are more Nations at War coming. I just can't tell you when, other than next year, maybe, hopefully.
That's good.
2021 is going to be the year.
Yeah, I think it is.
Any more World War 85?
Hey, speaking of World War 85 and Nations at War, so they're very similar systems, yet there are some huge differences.
Yes.
And I've had several people email me or message or comment me asking me about the differences. So, OG, if you would just spend a few minutes maybe just talking about the differences or the similarities between the
Sure. Let me answer Rough Swordsman's first. Yes, World at War is in the top tier of what next is going to be on the Kickstarter. In fact, as soon as we get the box art mat cover back from our Polish artist, then we will have another announcement. We have already announced Blood and Fury. That is set to go. We've got the box art for it. Everything is pretty much done for it. Again, it's just we're trying to figure out the situation with the printer. This Kickstarter for this World at War is going to be a little different than the last one. This Kickstarter grew so big and has got so much stuff in it. We are doing 2 complete box sets that we're going to be releasing at the same time. Volumes 2 and Volumes 3. Blood and Fury and, for the life of me, I can't remember this. It's gone through so many working titles. Untold Story. No, not Untold Stories. Anyways, the next 2 titles are going to be released simultaneously. They're going to be 3-inch boxes. They're going to be just jam-packed with as much stuff that was in World at War. But the Kickstarter stuff that we originally designed, like how we did with the first one, Storm and Steel, it got just so big that we decided we're just going to make it its own complete third volume. So that is, we're really looking forward to that. So the next Kickstarter is going to be 2 full box sets, not 1 full box set with Kickstarter events. Right. There are going to be stretch goals for each one of them, but they're going to be released. You can either get one or the other, or we're going to be releasing as a package deal together. And with the Kickstarter details.
Now, for us guys in the UK and Europe, is that's okay to back the Kickstarter and the?
Oh yeah. No, there's no problem. We'll ship worldwide. Yeah. What we're more than happy with that, and what we do with our European stuff is, Second Chance Games, right?
Yes, that's what okay.
Second Chance Games is our European distributor. We ship everything to them, and then they they did this with the World at War. They distributed the Kickstarter from there. So from the printer to us to Second Chance, from Second Chance to our European customers.
So Kickstarter's normal on your Kickstarter page.
Yes.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are.
Correct.
Yep, you are completely correct. Well, we know we've got fans everywhere, so we've got to be able to cater to your guys' needs and desires and wants. I mean, we love having you guys as customers. So, where
are we? Yeah, it's right. Where is it now? It's up now. It's up there, isn't it? Trying to find my World at War. Oh, there it is. I've got my shoulder behind it. There it is.
Yep. There it is. So, all right, and so back over to ID's question on the differences between Nations of War and World of War. Obviously, World of War is modern 1985. Nations of War is World War II. For the most part, one of the biggest differences that I've always noticed is that the number of activation chits. From both sides in Nations at War, you usually have 1 activation chit per side. Nations at War, just because of the command and control differences between U.S. and the Soviet Union, the U.S. gets 2 activations to the Soviets, 1 formation activation. That's not universal, and we're going to be seeing some changes as we go forward and start having other nationalities introduced. One of the other biggest things between Nations at War and World at War is Nations at War has the option for a unit to go into opportunity fire mode. So you just put the opportunity fire mode marker down on during their activation. And if someone enters their line of sight during their turn in the line of fire, they can go ahead and shoot at it. In World at War, it's just, it's in activation. You just use it. If you don't have an activation marker on it, you can just do the opportunity fire, and all markers are removed at the start of your activation anyways. And really that's the biggest difference that I've ever really noticed. Now, I don't have a lot of familiarity with Nations of War. I have it, I've played it, but I've obviously focused more on World at War. But I think that is probably, of all the rules, the biggest difference is that in Nations at War, you have to specifically say, all right, this unit is going to opportunity fire if the opportunity arises. Whereas in World of War, it just happens if the situations are right. Other than that, there's really not much differences between the 2 systems. I mean, it's very easy to slip from one system to the other. So
the difference I've found is that because World at War is modern, you've got a plethora of different types of weapons. So no helicopters in Nations at War, no
missiles. Yeah, there's World at War is definitely a beefier game and has got more chrome in it, but the flow of battle between both games stay the same. So as long as you can learn the chrome for each system, you're golden. You're good to go. And,
I love my Nations at War. I love my World at War. But yeah, love them. They are great tactical systems.
Yes, they are. Very good systems.
So I'm not just saying that I'm on here tonight.
So would you say complexity-wise, Nation at War and World at War are pretty similar then?
I would say World at War is probably a couple notches more difficult.
That's right. I was thinking, but I have not played World at War because I'm more of a World War II guy, and I just haven't decided to dip into the World at War yet. But so I'm not really familiar with the World at War as much.
The OGs, have a look at it. The OG's done some great videos on it again. So
I've watched plenty of videos. I mean, I have the
other thing is
very, very similar, but when I watch people play the World at War, it seems like it's a notch or two.
Yeah, there's the Nations at War manual. There's the World at War manual.
Oh, I wouldn't say it's that thick, but there is definitely a difference. I think the Nations at War, the Nations at War, I think is 24, 32 page, where World at War is considerably larger.
Because of different weapons and things.
A lot of it is the weapons. Plus, since there's so many different types of weapon systems, we've devoted probably 20 pages just to. This is an anti-tank missile. These are the numbers on it. This is a tank. These are all the numbers. This is an infantry. I mean, we've got huge pictures, and it's really large font. So from a rules standpoint, the core rules for World at War is only about 42 pages, maybe 45 pages. But there's a lot of examples of play in it. There's a lot of big font, lots of pictures, stuff like that. We wanted to make it real easy.
Yeah. I can understand it. If I can understand it, guys, then nobody's got a problem.
Well, I don't know. You've got some good pedigree now that you've been going through for a year. You're kind of expanding your horizons a little bit more than.
Oh, I can't help it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you started with Warfighter.
Yeah.
It's about as easy a war game as you can get out there.
But I still love it. I love the game.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. This is very introductory. Tony says that he loved both systems. Yeah.
And hi to Steeler fan. I don't know if you said hi to Steeler fan. He came in. Yes, and if I may, Tony has asked something. I watched your opening video.
Yeah, I was kind of ignoring that question.
Yeah, I know you were. I know. And look, I thought, what's got into him? He's gone and bolted. He's only gone and bolted Atlantic Wall, the GOS system, 4,000 counters.
Someone's a madman.
250 maps. What are you doing? How on earth are you going to play that? You're going to play it on the floor? You've got less room than me.
I got a huge area back here to put it down.
What do you think? Now the dust has settled. What do you think?
Well, I wanted to expand my horizons a little bit. I wanted to try something a little more difficult. Space limitations, true, but vassal. That's all I have to say. Vassal. So a lot of people say, well, why are you getting this if you can't even set it on your desk? Which I can't, because literally this is my area right here. That's all I got.
Yeah,
I got like a 6x6 area. In fact, a little map. That's not as big as I can get on my table there.
I think for me, the answer is even though you're not going to play it, us war gamers, we just have to have it, don't we? We have to have it.
Yeah,
I've got Axis Empire Day Senso there. I'm not going to be able to play that yet, but that's Nathan's fault.
Seriously, they say, oh, it's so complex. How complex can it really be? There's only so many rules. There can only be so many rules. You got zone of controls. You have either, zone of controls, either block supply, they don't block supply. It's the same thing when you look at all the games out there.
So why has it taken 70-odd pages to explain that?
I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out.
Have you played it, Devin?
No, I don't touch Monster War games anymore. I used to do Monster War games. I'm old school. Well, let's see. What was the biggest one I ever got in was Europa Universalis. We did the entire Eastern Front, Throckmorton, and there was probably at the time the Wargaming club that I was associated with at the time. This is 88, 89, because I was going through a gun school when I was in the service in Chicago, and it was 12 commanders, 6 on both sides. Army commander down to corps and group commanders. And we probably had that set up on at least a 12x12. It was very difficult to try to reach to the inside. Yeah. And we'd get together 2 or 3 times a week, and we wouldn't get very far because, we all had our own sectors and, divisional or army commanders had their own armies. Yeah. And the orders would go down. And I got into that. It was going on when I joined it. I was there for about 6 months, and it was still going when I left. So God love the monster games. There's a part of me that would love to dive into MMP's Case Blue. Yeah, I would love to. There's no way in hell I could practically ever do it. I do not have the space here to set it up, and I don't know anybody who has the space to keep it. I would love to do it. I just know from a logistics standpoint, ain't never gonna happen. Yeah, so, I've still got I've got a couple Monster War games on my table. SS America, Worldwide Wargaming's, Joseph Miranda, Ty Bomba, and that one's probably the biggest monster game I have. I've got a card table. I can't even get one of the 4 maps from SS America on the card table. What's
that like? I've seen some copies floating about on eBay on that SS America.
It's I can't really say because I've never played it. I own it. I've got it. I've punched it. I've read the rules, but I've never been able to play it. I want to. I would love to be able to play it because I love hypotheticals. We're war gamers. At the end of the day, we're all Monday morning quarterback, and we all deal in hypotheticals. Whether it's what if the Prussians had shown up earlier at Waterloo, or what if the Prussians hadn't shown up at all at Waterloo? Yeah. There's that type of hypothetical, and then there's the other hypothetical of Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of England. In fact, I currently have, you probably are not going to see it real well, but over on my table over there, I've got Britain Stands Alone.
Oh, right.
1994 GMT's invasion, Sea Lion. And I'm slowly working my way through the rules on that. But then there's then you have something like SS America, which America was never invaded.
No,
but it makes a great setting. It's a what if situation, and it's something I would love to try. I mean, I suppose I could go over to my niece and my nephew's place and set it up on their pool table. They'd let me set it up there. I know that, but
sure, yeah.
no, I just don't. I'm just not sure if that would ever be practical or not. So,
well, but that's again why I love World of War 85. It's gone hot. They've invaded, you know, and it's what if, you know.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah. Absolutely love those.
The advantage of non-monster games is even if you're space challenge, you can usually find a space. It's just how long is that space going to be available? You know, if you got to set it up on your kitchen table, obviously you have the afternoon to get it done. And one of the advantages of
I'm just going to say, we haven't had a meal on my table for 6 months. It's huge. Sorry.
So yeah, I think you know, I've got space, you know, but the question is
how
I use it. Where am I going to put my keyboard tomorrow when I need to use my computer, my mouse, and everything? I can leave this set up on my desk for as long as I want, but it's just how inconvenient is it going to be to actually use my space that I got to use? So let's talk about something since we're talking about monster games and shit counters. And if you guys watched our episode last week with Wardrobe, aka Italian Hobbyist.
Yes, love the name.
I brought up a question to him, and I would love to hear your guys' opinions on it. So the question was, why? So I just got the Atlantic Wall. Right?
What haven't you got?
And it's like 5 gazillion thousand counters, and why we compared it with Lock and Load and some of the other manufacturers out there when they do counter sheets. Why are we using this old antiquated system of putting them in the actual sheets as opposed to having the printers actually print them, cut them, round them, and put them in a bag and ship them out? Why have we not evolved in the last 40 years of wargaming to make it easier for us? Because some of us don't enjoy cutting counters at all. Some of us hate cutting counters. And why is that not an option? So, floor's open. I'd love to hear people's opinions on this. Am I the only weirdo out there?
Yes.
Because I literally bought a game off of eBay that nobody was bidding on, and it'll come this week. And I got it for $17 because it was already pre-cut and the counters were rounded and everything. Nobody was bidding on it. It's a like $80 game. I got it for $17.
Yeah, but it's been clipped with a toenail clipper, isn't it?
No. You'll see when it comes.
All right.
You'll see when it comes.
Now, I'm not speaking for all wargamers, but I think the main reason they're not all like Lock and Load and DVG and Crowbar, I've just done an unboxing for. Bang, 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 bang. I think is cost, but also sad people like me like getting, you know, the X-Acto knife out and the clippers and sitting there putting some music on and clipping the counters. And also, I think, from my point of view, as you're clipping and cutting the counters out, you're looking at them, you're getting familiar with them. So they're not, you know, when you go pop, 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 you don't actually, when you're clipping a counter, you're looking at it. You think, oh, there's an infantryman there. Look, he's more powerful than that other one I just clipped. That's me. I think it's a traditional thing. It's just the way things have been done since 1970, whatever. And people don't like change.
That's part of my statement is we have been doing this since 1970. Why have we not evolved past this?
I think cost for my limited thing is cost.
It doesn't cost any more. There's zero more cost. If the press has to come down and make the grooves in your sheet, they can just come down and cut it out.
But it's going to use up more card, isn't it?
It's going to use up more what?
Card. If you want space and rounded corners, they've got to be put apart from each other, so that's going to use up more card, is it not? Don't ask. What are you asking me for? I
just asked your opinion. Let's move on. Devin?
Devin, get a sensible answer, Devin. Come on.
All right. It is mostly tradition, and it's also easier on the printers for them to just die cut the sheets. They could develop a system, but again, you're going to have to come up with a new machine to cut all the way through, and then ensure that every single one of those counters get dumped into its own specific bag. That's another machine you're probably going to have to come up with. These printing and cutting machines are not cheap. You're looking at $35,000-$40,000 on the low end for some of these cutters. So you're going to have to add in another machine for what is really kind of a niche hobby, because the printers are just not cutting for war games. They're cutting for thousands of other different products. And that's what the dies are set up for. They can set up the dies to cut out the counters, but those dies can also be set up to cut other things. So it's more equipment that they'd have to put in. Plus, I don't think a lot of gamers are really going to be happy if they receive a box in the shrink with the counters prepackaged. Now, I'm not saying not every gamer. You, of course, ID, you would probably appreciate, and you have said that you would appreciate that. There are a lot of other people that prefer to see everything on the sheet so they know if there's a counter that's missing. If you get the counters in a bag, then you don't really know if all the counters made it in there or not. So it's kind of an unknown psychological thing that people have with that. Now, if you buy something off eBay, you kind of expect it's probably going to be punched anyways. And so, you take that into account, and that's why people will pay less for it, because they're not getting their hands on it to see it in pristine condition. And this kind of folds into the other question that you had. Why do we pay less for games that are already punched? I think it's kind of a hidden psychological fact of having the box, ripping the ripping the shrink, and seeing everything there in pristine condition. If it's not in pristine condition, why would I pay $60, $80, $100 for it? If it's already been punched, then it's not new anymore. It doesn't matter if it hasn't been played, because there's been times when I've taken a game. And I'm a player. I'm not a collector. If I buy a game, I'm punching the counters.
Yeah,
that's the first thing that's happening. But I'll never play it. I'll flip through the rules once. I turn around and we'll end up selling it on constant market for 25% of the value. It's just the way people's work. They're willing to pay full price for brand new. It doesn't matter. But if it's not brand new, if it's been punched, never played, maps never opened, book never been, if the counters have just been punched, people aren't going to pay full price for it. It's just a psychological question.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on. Sorry. So what's the first thing anybody does when they buy a secondhand game that's been punched?
They can do the counter count.
You count the counters. Yeah. You've got to make sure they're there. And there's always that chance. That's happened to me. Okay. Luckily, you came to the rescue, but it's happened to me. So that's another reason.
It has happened to you. And there's somebody that came to your rescue.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so manufacturer, we'll just call it manufacturer XYZ, decides that, you know what? A lot of our customers just want to play the game. They don't care about punching counters. So what we're going to do is we're going to die cut them. We're going to come down the assembly line. It's going to punch them right out. They're going to come down the assembly line into a bag. The bag goes in the box, and then we shrink wrap the box. Okay? You got that? and you order that, and it's shrink wrapped, okay? And all your counters would be pre-cut, maybe not even rounded, maybe just cut out of the instead of sheets, okay? Or same manufacturer, they do it the way we've been doing it. Shrink, with the counter sheets, just the rough cut down the assembly line in the box, shrink wrapped it, put it on the shelf. Manufacturer can sell product A and product B for same price, less price. If you order it from manufacturer A, is it going to be, oh, hey, I've got it, it's shrink wrapped, right? It's in the shrink.
Mm-hmm.
So it's brand new. Once you open it up, all your counters are ready to go for you.
Who's putting them in the bags?
It's done at the manufacturing side.
So that's a new machine.
Huh?
So it's a new machine they've got to buy, a bagging machine.
They don't need a machine to do that. They can put Joe on it, or Sam, or whoever they can put on there. It can't be that hard. I mean, they're not making like 5 million copies of this game, right? As Devin has already said, this is kind of a niche. This is a niche hobby. They might produce what? I don't know what a production run is. Devin, do you have any idea what a normal production run is?
For Lock and Load Publishing, we do less than 2,000. I know GMT does less than 5,000. I would assume Decision and Compass Games are right around the 2,000 mark as well for a print run, which is,
I was going to say probably less than 10, and I was way high.
Yeah.
So you're talking 2,000 to 5,000 copies of the game. So if I got the game from manufacturer XYZ in the shrink wrap, with the counters already cut, there's no difference in pristine condition whether the counters inside it have been pre-cut or not pre-cut.
No, you're absolutely right. And honestly, if a manufacturer, publisher, a printer, whatever, were to do that, I probably wouldn't have an issue with it. I mean, if you take a look at the Euro games and the Mera style games, they have pre-cut stuff in there, not at the same count that we have, because an Mera style game might have 50, maybe 75 meeples in it or something like that, whereas our game's 500, 1,000, 2,000, what have you. So it could be done. And if a publisher were to start doing it, I probably wouldn't have any complaints with it. If it's coming from the publisher, all shrink, and if that's how they decided to package a pre-cut, would probably appreciate it. It's more getting the publisher or the printers to do this. And how do you do that as a niche hobby of a niche hobby?
True.
It's not so much
the
designer's desire.
I don't know any of it, but what I'm thinking is if they got to come down and do the semi cuts,
right?
They got to, there's probably some kind of metal thing that comes down and.
Oh yeah, no. There is a way. There is a way. So
instead of having 1/8 inch blades that come down every so often, you're going to have 1/8 of an inch all the way down and all the way around, right? And then each of your different columns are going to have a blade. You just make one big blade, right? So,
sorry, he's on a rant. He's like, I'm sorry.
Right, so here's a counter scene, right?
Yeah, lovely.
We have one blade that comes down, and all it's going to do is just cut all this off, right? And then you have another blade that comes down this way. And then you're going to have one that comes across, and all these blades are the same length, right? All these blades that come across are going to be the same length. And counter scenes only come in, there are some variations, but I mean, we got 5/8 inch and you got 9/16 inch, right? So there's only going to be a couple variations. But the sheets are all the same
and
these are all the same size, though.
Something else to throw into your wheelhouse there, ID. Laser printing is becoming more and more popular, and you can just direct it to cut the lines straight without having to worry about the blades at all with
There
the
you go.
laser printing.
Laser printing.
What it comes down,
I think it is. We have been trained since the 70s and 80s that our games come this way. You know, this is anybody that grew up with wargaming grew up with the counter sheets in their hand. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying us as a wargaming institution have not evolved past our mindset of if it's shrink wrapped, it's worth a certain price. If it's opened and the sheets are uncut, it's worth another price, but not as much because it's not shrink wrapped anymore. Doesn't matter that I'm getting the same product. It's just that I've been trained to say if it's got the shrink wrapped on it, it's worth more. If it doesn't have the shrink wrap on it, then it's not worth it more. And even if these are still 100% intact, and then of course, if they've already been cut, you know, you got counters already cut, it's worth a lot less. We've been programmed that way for so many years that none of us have seen past.
I don't think it's just a wargaming thing. I think that's any commercial product you buy. I mean, it's why Goodwill does such good business. If you have a pair of pants, say you don't even wear them, you don't even wash them, but you take them down to Goodwill, nobody's going to pay full price for that. Even if it has never been worn, they're going to want to pay a lower price for it because it is used.
Yeah.
Even though it's not really used. So it's just not the wargaming. We're just not seeing this in war. We're seeing this in everything.
I agree.
There are about new and used. You know, it's it doesn't cost as much if it's used, even if it hasn't been used. It's just not you.
Yeah, but I understand all that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying a manufacturer could be cutting our counters.
Yes, I will completely agree with you. It's not going to cost them
that much more. Okay, even if it costs them more, it might actually cost them less in the long run. But the manufacturers don't do it because they're worried that too many people have this built-in.
I don't think the manufacturers really care what the customers think. They do it for ease on their end. They can get more done. I'm just going on the assumption here that actually I don't know what I'm trying to go for.
When you say manufacturers, you're talking about the people that make the game for the game company, not the game company itself.
Right. The printers, the actual people who print.
Yes.
Now sometimes they're one and the same, but in our case, we have our printing done out of house.
I think it's quite rare, isn't it, to have in-house printing? You know,
MMP does it outside of house. Compass, I think there's only one company that I know that the owner has his own printers, and that's Critical Hit Incorporated. And I may be wrong, but that's just the only one that I know. I know
companies send it out to be done, and the manufacturer goes, "Well, you want what? You know how much that's going to cost? I know you only make $3 on a box. That's going to cost you an extra $6 if you wanted to do that." Of course, they're going to go, "No, we'll have the sheets, please." I would have thought. No.
Okay, so even if it costs $3 more, as a manufacturer that wants to sell more games, they should say, "Hey," and we're going to talk about. So here's the comment: do you want it to come punched, or do you want it to come unpunched? If you want it punched, it's going to cost you $3 more, $4 or $5 or whatever it is. For me, I'd be willing to pay the extra $4 or $5 to have it already punched.
See, I wouldn't.
See, it wouldn't make any difference to me.
No.
So what you're railing about, ID, is something that is beyond the wheelhouse of most gamers to have an influence on. Publishers would have to go to the printers and say, "This is what we want," because printers aren't going to do it on their own. They're just not. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, because like I said, you look at this dearth of Euro style and Ameri style games that are out there, and believe me, I play a lot of them too. I've got a regular weekly group that I get together, and they don't want to touch X and counter, so I'm reduced to playing that. And there's a lot of good ones out there that I enjoy playing. It can be done. It's just convincing the manufacturers, the printers, to do it. And I don't think that's something we as consumers of the products have any influence on unless we go to the designers, the game companies who are publishing these, like say going to David at Lock and Load Publishing, or going to Tom at Hollandspiel, or going to Decision, or going to Compass, or going to Kurt Schilling at MMP, and saying in mass the customers want this.
Let's do it. Let's get our
start a petition.
Let's get our torches and pitchforks, and let's go. Let's go. We need to start a revolution right now.
Oh, this is something.
Our revolution right now.
Don't count me in. Nothing to do with this. I'm quite happy.
Tony just mentioned something that I didn't realize. He's saying Critical uses a different local printer, not their own. Ray used to have his own printing. Has that changed? Of course, I haven't talked to Ray in 10 years or so. But Tony, did he stop using his own printing? Because he had his own printers. He used his own printers. Now he had outside company box everything for him. But I could have, when I was working for Critical Hit, he had his own printers. So that may have, but like I said, that was 10, 15 years ago. So that may have changed. So anyways, and I want to say hi to Al Red Sox fan, our buddy Al, and my buddy Ross at Napoleonic Wargamers, and Steeler fans. Shout out a question. Been thinking about buying a table just for my solitaire wargaming. Do you guys think 48 by 48 is a good enough size, or should I go bigger than that? What do you guys think?
Sorry about that, Steeler fans. I apologize for that. Think about it.
Yeah, 5. That's what. That's 4 before. That's not going to be. No, you want it a bit longer. I think 6 before.
I would say 4 by 8.
You would, wouldn't you? You would have to go one better than me, wouldn't you?
Of course.
I'm going 6 before because that's probably easy to get. Also, that
you want to get 4 by 8. You got to get. I mean, before I moved to Florida, I don't even want to talk about it because it's going to make me cry. But I had my own loft above the garage that was like 20 by 18, and I had so much space. I could set up 4 or 5 tables together in there and never have a problem.
I think at the minimum 4 by 6. At the minimum, if you want to do stuff more than just little one mappers. I mean, most magazine games and a lot of other games come out, they're 32 by 24 or something like that. And that, you can get that on a card table. I do that with my card table all the time. However, anything bigger than that, you're not going to be able to get on such a small table. So 4 by 6, I think, would probably be the minimum, because a lot of times you're not looking at square maps anyways in war games. You're looking lengthwise maps. So 4 by 4, you're going to be missing, if it's a long map, say like Turning Point Stalingrad, which is 2 maps, but they're the Avalon Hill maps, but they're not one above each other. They're lengthwise. And so it's better to go wider, in my opinion, 4 by 6. So
yeah, I agree.
At least 4 by 8. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about.
And on that note, I got to step away real quick. I will be right back.
Okay, sure. No problem. So yeah, I mean, I just think that
you go on a right old rant about this, and quite rightly, if that's your feelings, and they're pretty strong on this, it doesn't bother me at all.
It shouldn't bother you. I'm not trying to bother you. I'm trying to evolve wargaming past the 70s. Okay, it's time for us to get in the 21st century now.
But it doesn't bother me. I'm in the process of clipping 7.5 counter sheets.
Okay, wouldn't you rather be playing the game than clipping?
No, I love, because I'm looking at the counters. Oh, look at here! Look, oh, yeah. No, it's part of for me, it's part of the ritual of getting a game. Some games like Crowbar, I just go bang, 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 and it's done.
And which is easier? Which is able to get on the table quicker?
Neither.
Why would I pay extra money to spend 8 to 10 hours clipping counters and cutting counters and getting them all ready to play the game when the game should come to us already ready to go?
Because I enjoy it.
Well, you're one of the weirdos.
There you go.
You got to be one of the weirdos.
Yeah. And I'm quite happy to be labelled as a weirdo.
You need to evolve, man. You need to evolve. You don't have that much time left. You should spend as much as you can. You got to spend as much as you can playing the game, not cutting counters.
He's just having a pop. He's saying, I've got a lot of time left.
You don't have a lot of time left. You should be maximizing it the best you can.
All I said was I enjoy cutting and clipping counters, and he said, "No, you've got a lot of time left. You should be playing them." It's charming.
I like clipping my counters. I've got one of those Oregon. I've got one of those Oregon lamination corner cutters, and I will just sit there, and I'll be sitting at my table, and I'll break out my phone, and I'll have my YouTube running in the background, and it's just kind of a Zen thing. I'll just go through I just let my mind go.
Yeah, I put music on sometimes, and just clip away. It's lovely.
Well, I will also give the caveat that I do work from home, so I've got a lot of free time. So I'm at home all the time anyway. So I'm not losing any time because I don't work 8 hours a day in a standard environment. So I guess that does kind of cloud my opinion on the matter because I do have a lot of spare time to do stuff like that. So I'm not losing out on any gaming time.
Yeah. But it's part of the game thing for me.
And you probably don't know this answer, OG, but maybe you do or not. But Lock and Load has gone away from the standard counter cheese.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think it's great. First of all, okay. I highly, highly, highly recommend Lock and Load just for that reason. One reason alone is I can buy their game. I can have it delivered to me. I can pick it from the guy standing at my front door. I can go into my den and I can punch out the counters and I can be playing in 10 freaking minutes.
Yes, great.
So
I love Lock and Load counters.
Is there a reason why Lock and Load decided to go away from these antiquated system to a more modern system?
I don't know. David can answer that. I've never asked him about it. I know there was a reason why they shifted, but I honestly do not know what that reason was. I'm glad they did it because, like I said, I like having the rounded corners, and with Lock and Load, I just touch them out and I don't have to worry about clipping them. So I absolutely love those.
Two things in one. Okay. Yep. First thing is they're pre-cut, which is awesome. Second thing is they're pre-rounded. So you fixed both problems by switching.
I still clip them.
Really?
No. I'm just winding up IT there.
I can ask David the next time I talk to him, but I've never really thought about it. It just, when he took over from Mark Walker, that's when the shift happened. But I just don't know why the shift happened. So,
but that's it. With Lock and Load and other companies, you know what you're going to get. You're going to go bang, 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 bang. Other companies, you're going to get 10 sheets of half-inch counters. You've got to spend 2.5 days cutting and clipping. That's fine.
I'm sending you my games so you can clip them. You send them back.
That's fine. Fine. Send a prepaid envelope, of course. Otherwise, I'll have to go.
I'll never get them back. I know you better than that. Come on now.
Oh, it's got lost in the post ID. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere over the pond.
Yeah.
I guess they should let this subject go.
I think you should. Yeah.
I think I've made my point. The revolution has started. We'll check in next year and see how it's going, and see if the revolution is growing in strength. Devin, talk to David Heath.
Okay.
And find out about that. And also, I sent him an 8-page email. I don't know if he talked to you about it or yet.
He mentioned that he got a very extensive email from you, and this was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if he responded. I will say David's is undergoing some health issues right now.
Oh, is he?
Okay. Yeah, so he had a surgery beginning of July, and has not had a real good recovery with it. So he's been on a lot of pain pills, and he's doing the best he can, but he is falling behind in some things. And so just I ask that you give him a little bit of patience, and maybe just a slight polite reminder. Hey, did he? Because I know he mentioned that you had sent him that big massive email. He didn't say if he had responded. Has he responded?
I have not received an email back.
Okay, I will talk to him.
Sure, I was going to get an email back, so I wasn't really expecting one. But for those of you who are unaware, I've been pushing hard for a lock and load tactical-ish system for fantasy.
Yes. You're not the only person.
Screenshots. I sent him all kinds of stuff to help him sway towards getting a lock and load fantasy system going.
Okay, now I will say it may be a lot, and this is something I've noticed a lot of people. I want the game design. I want this game company to do this, and I think it'd be really good. It's not lack of interest on their part. It's lack of designers. And honestly, I will say this: design it. If you present David a system that all we need to do is have map work and artwork done.
Artwork done, yeah.
That fits.
I mean that David is very, very open to those to receiving suggestions and receiving input. And honestly, if he thinks he can make $1 at it, he'll make it happen. It's not that we don't want to do these things. It's like David wants to do Stalingrad, and the scale that David wants to do lock and load tactical Stalingrad, if and when we get to it, is going to blow your minds, because he and I have been talking about it for the last year. It comes down to the designers to do it. I mean, I can only do so much in with my designs. I've got 3 designs I'm working on right now, and I'm feeling like I'm getting nothing accomplished with it. I mean, like I said, we've got 3. Oh, yeah, even we got Grenada. Grenada's coming out for lock and load tactical as well. Ralph, I apologize. I'm completely sorry. I forgot about your title. I mean, we've got 3 lock and load tactical titles that are going to be coming out within probably the next 6 to 8 months, probably.
Right.
We would love to have more.
It's
just I can only do so much. Gina,
it's finding people to design it.
Yeah, that's, and honestly, I fielded a lot of questions. There was one guy on Facebook who popped up and said, "Well, why haven't you done more British or Canadian stuff? We'd love to do British or Canadian stuff. We just don't have the people for it." So I told him, if you want to, work it up and send us the presentation. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Now, like I said, David is very open to that. I think Tom over at Hollandspiel is open to the same thing. If you've got a game that you think a company would like, there's nothing wrong with you putting the package together and making the presentation. Now, it probably won't work with MMP because MMP uses all their own in-house producers, but Decision, Compass, Hollandspiel, Flying Pig.
They're all looking for games, aren't they? Yeah.
Make the presentation. You are never going to get a game published if you don't present it to game companies. I mean, that's what it comes down to. When I got my start with Critical Hit, I was play testing for one of the guys who was doing design work there, and I was looking at what he was doing. It's like, I hate to say, it's like, wow, if he can do it, so can I. It's from Swordsman. We were just having this discussion. If this idiot can do it, so can I. And so I decided, it's like, all right, on a lark, I'll just go ahead and put this presentation together. And I shot it off to Ray, and Ray says, all right, yeah, this is what I need from you. Do it. A year later, my first module was produced. It would have never happened unless I reached out to him. Like I said, there are some companies that aren't open to that. Like I said, I believe MMP, because they do like to keep things nice, tight in-house. But pretty much every other game company out there, and some of the Wargaming magazines, they like to, they kind of stay. But if you want to see something, design it, the rough draft, give the presentation, how you want it to work out, even rule systems, and present it to these publishers. Because right there, you're making their job a hell of a lot easier, because you're coming to them with a project that they probably didn't even think of and weren't going to have anybody working on. And you've already given them a presentation, which is showing you're willing to do the work into it. Then you just take it from there.
Well,
I mean, that's. I would love to. You and believe me, ID, you are not the only one that has mentioned about a lock and load fantasy or rank and file or system or something like this. You know, you are not the only one. And every time I keep telling people, make it up and present it.
Well, that was what my email basically was outlining, and just some examples of.
Yeah. No, I'll follow up with David on that. Like I said, he's been under pain
Not
pills
an
so
in-depth-
much. So
in-depth kind of presentation, just here's the advantages and this is what you could do with it type thing. You know, just kind of a few kind of broad overview strokes. You know, I didn't present anything that was like, you can have multiple factions, and I list the factions. And say inside each faction you could have this, and this, whatever. But anywho, you're right. We just need to step up. We need to step up to the plate. It's never going to happen. Just thinking and wishing ain't going to get it done.
Yeah. Right. I should look forward to that. That'd be good.
So what else we got?
Well, what are you guys playing at the moment?
Devin?
No, I'll let you go first, ID.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to be quiet for a change. So here's my box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Panzer Battles.
So I did a kind of just a broad overview of the rules for the standard combat system, which was pretty well received, actually. I think I got a lot of good comments about it. You know, people liked, I think it's easier for most people to see things and hear the rule as opposed to reading it out of a rule book. And that's where rule books are still antiquated systems and not in the 21st century.
Don't start.
If I was a manufacturer, what I would do is I would create my own tutorial system to help people understand how to play my game. But that's a different story. Anywho, so I did a tutorial series on that, and I've been sitting here debating about the best way, if it's going to be a live stream, if it's going to be a recorded and then posted type screen, because there'll be a lot of camera movement around to show the different units and stuff that are moving. And so I just haven't decided the best way to do that. I've got my Normandy 44 on Vassal, which is kind of a learning game, and that's going along pretty good too. So that's probably the two big things I've got going on. And I want to start another new project, but and I've got your homework assignment, which I never got back.
I'm looking at it. Storm over.
You don't have much time left. You need to stay focused.
She's dragging me away for 3 days. I'm going to take the rules with me. I've got the rules. Because there were 2 versions of this. There was the boxed version, Storm over Arnhem. We're talking about the old the SPI. There's the box game, and then there was a folio game. Now the box game had you threw dice and things, but in the folio game you pulled chits. I suppose it's easier to put chits and dice in a folio. So the rules are slightly different, but I think that's the only difference. And I've got the folio rules, so I'm taking them, got them on my iPad. I'll be taking those and having a read, along with another game that I need to learn so I can video it. But yes, I haven't forgotten.
I will warn you, if you're playing the folio system, take a look at the how the chits for the British numbering and the German numbering are. They're not the same.
Right.
The quote unquote dice rolls, the chits are not 1 through whatever. The Germans are slightly slanted a different way. I don't know why they did this. I discovered this while playing it with a buddy of mine, because with the chit pull system, it's like, all right, I'm making some cautious advances. I'm burning through my high numbers. I want to get to those low numbers so I can. So you can kind of manipulate the system a little bit. But he went through the entire cup, and there were virtually no low numbers for him.
Oh.
And we looked through it, and I'm the only one that's ever owned this copy. I haven't lost any counters from it. So take a look at the chit pulls. I would recommend. Now, there might be in the folio system, they may address that, but the chits in Storm, the chits in Storm over Arnhem are not the same numbering for both the British and the Germans.
I'm reading them because when we play it, we're going to be playing the boxed version,
right?
Tabletop Simulator, I think that's the one. So I'm just
excellent game.
To get an idea of the rules, but he keeps moaning. He wants it yesterday, God, flip. So sorry. So that's what you've got. And I'm going to ask you, ID.
I don't know what you're waiting on.
And I'm going to ask you, ID, how many tens of packages have you got coming in as well before Devin says what he's playing? You got anything else coming in?
I've got
I've
got a couple, yes. Yeah. But there'll be a surprise.
All right. So
we love surprises.
Yeah. I'll see what you got as well for $27. So, Devin, what are you playing at the moment?
Right now, like I mentioned earlier, I've got GMT's Britain Stands Alone on the table. I've spent the last 3 nights very leisurely setting the game up. I'm running into a problem because it is an early 1990s game. And the hunters are so tiny, and I have a hard time picking them up. But aside from that, that's really the only complaint I have right now. I've read the rules several times in the past. I need to go over the rules again. I will probably do some turns offline by myself just to make sure I get the rules set in my mind before I start recording it. But we are going to be seeing some videos of Britain Stands Alone from GMT. I'm also doing totally enamored with John Tiller games again.
Yeah,
I've fallen back into the Tiller trap with
the same as well.
Oh yeah. ID Jester's played. He was doing you were doing Normandy.
Yeah.
I was enjoying watching that. But yeah, they had their sale in.
I did kind of stop because I didn't want to interfere with what you were doing.
Oh, don't worry about it. Multiple people can be doing the same project at the same time, and everybody's going to love it because there's never going to be too much of anything.
No, and people play things.
Just keep going.
I think people that go and watch your John Tiller videos, which are great, and then I don't want them going, I don't want to go watch Jesters because I want to watch something else.
Well, right now I am doing Civil War. You're doing World War II. They couldn't be two dissimilar things.
Yeah.
But even if
do it. If
you were doing the same battle, people would still want to watch both because people play things differently and have different strategies.
And something I found out, for the people who just want to watch to see the game played, 9 times out of 10, they're also watching because of the personality. They're watching us individually. The game is less important than the personality that's presenting it. So if people are watching you do Normandy 44, they're doing it mostly because they like watching you. And the people who are watching me do Cassville right now are watching it because they like seeing me. It doesn't matter what we're doing. They just want to see us. And that is one of the few narcissistic things I will allow about myself. It's like our friend Al. Love Al to death. I could sit there and listen to Al all day long with the way he presents his sports games. Just the way he does it. It's like I'm listening to a radio of an actual ball game in progress. It doesn't matter what it is. I hate college basketball. But when he does college basketball, I'm going to listen to him do college basketball because it's Al. And people are going to watch me for me. People are going to watch Rough Swordsman for him. People are going to watch you for you. It's not necessarily what it is. It's who's doing it. At least that's my opinion.
And if yes, exactly. If I'm learning a game, I'll scour the internet for everything just because I find it easier to watch videos and then read the rules because then I remember the videos and the rules make sense. So yeah, you're right. So you've got a game turn up. You got any new stuff turning up, Devin? Anything new turning up? from Mr. Postman?
No, I don't get a lot of very new games. Since I do work, I'm a living caretaker, and that is my job, and I don't get paid for it. So we live a frugal lifestyle, so I don't get the opportunity to buy a lot of games. Which is why, if you look at my channel, most of it's all the stuff I've owned for 30 years in the past.
Yeah,
right.
Tons of that, and that's great to see.
So there's not really many new war games out there that I pay attention to because I know I don't have the finances for it.
Yeah, well,
and I'm right now I'm on the tiller hook and have been on the tiller hook for the last 2 years. So if I get some free cash, it's like, maybe I should get another tiller title. So instead of buying another actual board war game. So I don't have anything coming in from the post office, I'm afraid. ID's the one. He's our unboxing meister.
Surprised he's not divorced yet. He's unboxed, especially with that Atlantic Wall. It's going to be sitting there like an Atlantic Wall, isn't it? It's not going to be
the Panzer General.
And there's 2 big boxes at my desk. When I walk in, I got to be super nice to the wife.
I'm surprised. You got SPQR, didn't
you? Yeah.
That is one system I've always wanted to get into.
Yeah, I like the look of that.
And the Great Battles of History.
I notice it's in the shrink, so it's worth twice as much.
Is it unpunched? Has it been reshrunk? Because you've got to watch out for that as well.
Might have been repunched.
I've got a.
What do you got?
Oh,
you've been talking about this for a long time. So finally decided to pick it up.
Like Devon, this isn't a cheap hobby, and this can be quite it's not, and this is quite expensive. But I found somewhere, and I got it.
Wow!
And it's supposed to be like Great Battles of History, but different. So it's a simpler. I think it's a simpler system.
It's just like Great Battles of History, but different.
Yeah,
but not.
So and there's like tons of stuff in that. That's another 3-inch box as well. So
yep.
That's the thing I've been punching and clipping and loving it. And of course, it's all set in my side of the world. So that's my only thing at the moment. And I'm learning not target today. And that's what I'm learning at the moment. So
Doolittle Red, yeah.
That was the one that the subscribers wanted me to do. So I'm taking that away with us, and Storm over Arnhem. So that's what I'm going to try and be learning, because that's going to be my next playthrough, I think. Keep the subbies happy.
Keep the subbies happy. Yeah. One of these days we'll care about that.
Right. It's the only reason I'm here, my lucky subscribers.
Well, of course. So,
yeah.
Do
you want me to think of another question, or are you all right?
Who? What?
Yeah, about 9:30.
Me or Devin?
Yeah, no, you. You're going to ask something.
I was, but now I don't remember what I was going to.
I've thrown you, haven't I? Thrown you.
You did.
Have we got any questions from the viewers? Any questions from people watching?
I get you.
What?
How do I mute you?
Charming.
Devin, something was just released at Lock and Load Publishing that's new. Well, it was new, but bringing back an old thing. The cards?
Oh, the skill card. Yes. Dude, we've got so much stuff that I'm keeping my fingers. Okay. All right. So the skill cards that recently just come out. When Mark Walker actually started up the game company and he was designing the games back when he was the owner of the company, we had these skill cards that were with the games that went along with whatever skills leaders and heroes could either start off a scenario with, or they could gain over the course of the scenario. But when David took over the company, they decided to get away from that. And instead of having these individual cards with the skills on them, we just went to a player aid card, which is just as fine as well. However, when we started doing Tabletop Simulator, we found that it was difficult to get that extra player aid card in there. So we decided to go back to the cards for the skills. So you just draw out whatever card you need, put it down on the Tabletop Simulator board. Very, very small footprint, has all the information right there. And since we had to do all the art for it anyways, we went ahead and decided, well, let's go ahead, let's print these, but let's have Wargamers Vault do it for us. And they're relatively cheap. They're $4 or $5. I mean, most people are going to pay more than that for a cup of coffee for them. So yes, we have brought back the skill cards for all the games except Day of Heroes, because Day of the Heroes doesn't have any skills in it. Why? I don't know. It's just the only game. But Heroes of Nam, Heroes of Defiance, Heroes Against the Red Star, Heroes of the every one of our other tactical games. There they are, right there. We have new skill cards. Actually, that's not them. Yeah, right there. I think that's it. Yep, Heroes of North Africa.
Yeah.
And these are completely optional purchases. You do not need these to play the game. The player aid cards are in the game set already. This is just something that if you want to, you can. Now, I will say, and I hate to say this, there was some slight printing errors when we sent the initial files off to Wargamers Vault. We caught it in about a week and sent them the new updated ones. However, some of the card sets that people have got sent do have some misinformation on them. I think Heroes of the Normandy has a bullet point that's not on it, but more importantly, I think Heroes of North Africa, one of the skills is wrong on one of the cards, and that happened three times. We do know that these problems exist. We have sent the new files off to Wargamers Vault, and I don't know what David's position is on getting the people who have the old cards and new cards. I'm going to assume that we are going to replace them, but because David is really good about that, but he has not given me an official word on that yet. But yeah, just be aware there were an issue with the first set of cards that Wargamers Vault printed. We've got the new updated files to them that are all now correct, so you can order them in safety now. So I just did want to say that just for completion's sake.
I think it's great. I love the cards a lot better than the counters. Because, yes, you have the little counter, but how many times do you go, oh, I got to look that up? I mean, if you had the card,
it's a separate player aid card. It's just right by the table. It's so much easier. Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
Money well spent. It saves you so much time just having these cards right there. And then, if you got to draw random, you just shuffle the cards, you draw one out.
Draw whatever you want.
It's not, how many times have you been looking around? Oh, where the hell are these? I can't even find the stupid skill cards or the skill tokens.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I always hated these skill tokens, but.
And Wargamers love bling. So, we do.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, World at War, or Nations at War, with the activation chits as the cards as opposed to the actual chits coming out of a cup. I think that's
love it.
a great idea as well. And I'm not just saying this because Devin's on here. You can go back and watch all my previous episodes, okay? Lock and load for me, all right, is probably, as you can tell, I'm a little finicky on some stuff. Lock and Load Tactical seems like they're the only company that's stepping up and trying to evolve the wargaming industry higher and higher and higher, and not just status quo. All right. There are certain companies, which I will not mention names, that seem like they are just sticking with status quo is good enough. It's just status quo on everything. Now I know GMT is starting to produce better quality stuff. They've gone with thicker counters. They're still doing the counter sheets, but that's a different story. You know, and I think it's is it Columbia that's going with the thicker counters now. There are some other companies that are doing a little bit, but for me, for the money that I spend when I compare game from company A to game from company B, like I said, lock and load for me. If it's comparable and it's a game that I'm interested in, I will for sure buy a lock and load game.
Well,
Because number one, I want to support a company who is supporting their customers, which I think they do a great job with that. And I want to support a company that's trying to evolve the industry as a whole.
I will say David never stops. The man is a machine. I'll be up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, just because I don't sleep a lot to begin with. And I'm just playing computer games or doing whatever I'm doing. And I will see him and he'll be posting work stuff. And I'll notice it in the developers folders that we have on Dropbox. And the man it literally is a machine. He just does not. And he's always thinking. I mean, we talk probably 5, 6, 7 times a week. And he'll say, hey, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? I mean, you take a look at Lock and Load. Most of our games now, they're available as free downloads. They're available as audio downloads. They're available as digital downloads. You want them as an MP3. You want them as an audio book. Just all. I think there's like 5 or 6 different free ways you can get the Lock and Load tactical rules.
That David Heath is getting a new series channel that does nothing but broadcast out the rules for Lock and Load.
I can't say that. I can't speak to that. So
for me, I have nothing to do with Lock and Load. They've not sent me anything or anything like that. I love their games. I love the quality of the components. Their rules seem to have been worked out, looked through, and edited, play tested properly. And if there is a mistake, they're right on it with errata and, as you say, evolving the game. They're bringing out new bits and pieces for this. The cards, you know, they're not stopping. And I think a lot of other companies could learn a few lessons from that sort of behavior. Great, I love them. I love, you know, Nations at War, you know, and World at War. I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about this comment because I think this is interesting. It's
very apt.
61. For some, the drive for higher quality has priced the games out of reach.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I mean, there's is it Compass Games? Love the games, you know, but they print in the US. All right, they're print in the US, and that's pushed the game up tremendously. A game like Combat, is it Compass?
Yeah, Compass does Combat.
Yeah, £150, you know, and there's been some moans about the quality and about this because they're printing in the US. Some other people are trying to up the quality of their components and maps and things, and the price has just gone daft. So I don't know why some people can do it. I mean, our games aren't cheap, but somebody like Lock and Load and you know, even DVG, the quality and the price reflects that. It's not daft. It's, you know, you're paying for a quality product, but you're not paying over the top for that quality product. Over to you.
I remember back in the day when I started my nascent gaming career in 1980, there was a little company called Metagame Concepts, and their games were $2.95 in 1980s terms. But you had one piece of paper, a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11. That was the map. And you had a tiny little counter sheet that you had to cut the counters out yourself. And it was maybe, 75, 100 counters in the whole game. Even then, at that time, Avalon Hill games, their bookcase games were $20. Expensive for the time, but not outrageously so. a lot of games nowadays the inflation has gone further than what it was when this started. An Avalon Hill game in the day, $20, which would be what, 60 or 80 today, taking into inflation. But if it were done today, it would be 120, 150, $160. Why has the prices increased? Even I can't answer that. So it's just, yes, games have gone up in price. Part of it is because of quality. Part of it, I think, is because it's niche and, well, they know that we're going to pay it.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
yeah,
with all of that said, here's my opinion. And I know I don't usually throw out my opinion, but I'm going to do it this time and this time alone. Okay?
Where's my popcorn? Hold on.
I think anybody that complains about the cost of a war game, yes, the prices are higher, but if you look at, I've got some of these advertisements that come in some of these games that I bought from the 80s, and they're like $40 back in the 80s. If you talk about regular inflation rates from 80s to 2010s, the prices are going to go up. But with that said, there is a lot of resources if you're a war gamer that you can get into this industry for cheap. As I talked about, I just picked up this off of eBay, shrink wrapped with the scenario booklet for
that
$25.
was misprinted though, wasn't it?
No, that wasn't misprinted. So you have people that are selling games on eBay all the time. I mean, especially if you spend and get a copy that's already pre-punched and pre-opened, you're going to be spending a lot less. We've already talked about that. We're not going to go over that again. But it is a resource for you guys out there. These games that cost, okay,
This
Atlantic Wall.
yeah, this game, £100 getting on over here, £100.
Atlantic Wall. You know how much Atlantic Wall costs?
Hundreds.
$280.
Yeah.
You know how much I got that for? Anyone? Anyone price?
I'm
Give
going
me-
to punch this.
Give me a price on it. What do you think? Now,
120.
It was
100.
it was 100. Jesus Christ. Pretty good price. So it's already, pre-cut out of the sheets.
Yeah, 4,000's a lot, I must admit, even for me.
So I ended up getting that for $140.
Still less than half price. So
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yes, games are expensive. Okay, if you want to. There's also a way where you can save money by pre-ordering a lot of companies. If you pre-order the game, it's going to be cheaper. You also have, of course, Kickstarter, right? So you can get on the Kickstarter, which is going to be cheaper. There's lots of things you can do. There are free print and play games that you can get into. I know we all have a couple copies of those. There's also the Wargamer Vault, where you can actually get the actual games, download them, and print them out yourself if you think it's too expensive. And I got
we're showing, are we? Hold on.
I'm just going to show off. Yeah, that's right.
As well.
So, I mean, this is one of the maps that I had printed out myself.
Old school tactical.
So you just print out the game, you just print it out, and you just tape it together, and you can put it together, and you're ready to go. And the file that the cost for the actual file, I think, was like $10 for the whole game.
It's crazy. Oh my God.
So all I had to do is print out the counters and the maps, and it cost me $10. And of course, you got the printing costs if you're going to print it, and a little bit of tape, and that's it.
Yeah, I got Red Menace, a solitaire game, $50. It's very hard to get over here.
Yeah.
£7.50. Rifles in the Ardennes. It was on sale at Wargame Vault. I think I paid about $5 or $6 for it. Printed it out.
Pull out some of your counters to show everyone.
I do go a bit OCD on them. Here's Rifles in the Ardennes.
And don't show them if they don't have rounded corners.
Where are we?
Those are some nice looking counters, actually. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
And you made that all yourself.
Yeah. Took me 4 weeks, but I made them. I mean, with rifles, this is a game I recommend for people getting into war games. You know, it's a nice look. That's the map. You just print that out, and that's it. So yeah, print and play I'm a big fan of. So I even did a short series of videos on them. You know that they're a great way to get some games for cheap and sort of off the shelf games as well. If you're prepared to put the work in and print them out and make them yourselves.
Well, we need to get
on. Do they?
Other than Kevin, what was the last game that was trashed on YouTube? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I don't know what that comment even.
I don't know who's Kevin.
Kevin Sharp, Big Board Game.
Oh, you're talking about that one in the hot place, yeah? Yeah.
Down in Texas, yes.
Yeah. No. Well, the game was set in a hot place as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kevin is very, very brutally honest.
I love
and doesn't pull many punches. I think it might have something to do with the libations he imbibes when he's doing. But I love Kevin. Kevin is actually what got me into doing stuff on YouTube. And again, it's, well, if he can do it, so can I. That type of thing. If you want a complete, pure, 100% honest opinion, Kevin is definitely the man to go to, because he will tell you what's wrong. He'll tell you what's right with the game, but he'll also tell you what's wrong with it. And sometimes he does trash games. I think most of us, the games that we play them because we like them, and we're not going to trash them because we're liking what we're playing. And I think sometimes when we receive review copies, we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us. And so we're going to give more. We're probably not going to pay attention to what's bad about a game and focus on what's good about it. I will admit I'm guilty of that. I will point out things that I don't like about games sometimes, not quite as often as Kevin does. But again, I don't do a lot of wargame reviews. I just pull up, whatever's on my shelf and play it. It is kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to reviewers. But you get that in any industry. I mean, look at the video game industry and all the video game journalists out there, and the video games that have come out recently that, these journalists have praised to high heaven, but the audience absolutely hated them.
That's the reason I don't review games.
Yeah.
I play them. And if they're a review copy, I play the game, and it's up to the viewer to watch it and think, yeah, that's for me. Oh, that looks good. I can't review. I don't know what other YouTubers you like. ID. I don't play the game enough to give it an honest review, because you learn the thing, you play it, and then you move on to something else. So I don't do reviews for that reason. I'm not au fait with the game enough to give an honest opinion. I play the game, and I say, I enjoyed that, or this, and I will say things like, this is great, but the one thing that bugs me is this flimsy blooming player aid, or something like that. But no, I won't trash something just cause. If it's that bad, I won't do a playthrough of it.
And I think that's what it comes down to a lot of people. And like I said, even if most you, I can't make blanket statements on this. My opinion I have is that some YouTubers, if they receive a copy, they're going to give it a glowing review because, hey, they got a game for free. That's just human nature. And you're going to want to hope to get more from in the future. So you kind of got to take some self-introspect and realize, all right, what service am I doing to the customers to balance the publisher's desire to have you give them a positive review to get more sales on their side, as opposed to giving the consumers, if it's a bad game, don't buy it. You know, how it's kind of an interesting balancing act, I would have to say. So,
well, all I have to say for myself is watch my video.
Don't start. Don't mention it.
Talk about Ringleader. Let's talk about Ringleader. Let's go. Because I'll be honest. Everything I get, I buy. I have gotten a package from Lock and Load, which I really appreciate everything that David Heath and Lock and Load has sent me to kind of round out my collection for Lock and Load. I don't say glowing reviews of Lock and Load because they sent me things. That has no bearing on my opinion whatsoever. I tell you why, good and bad, I like a company or I don't like a company. I like GMT games. I even said earlier they're doing better quality components. But man, Wing Leader is horrible. Okay? If anybody needs a copy of Wing Leader, I've got one for sale. Because when I see something I don't like, I will tell you.
I'll be the put the cat amongst the pigeons. Would you have said what you said if that had been sent to you as review copies?
Yes, I would have said that because Devin knows this, you don't know this, but I do a review of all my sports games, and there are
don't mention
Stratomatic.
Don't mention them. You mentioned, haven't you?
For reasons. I'm not just a hater because I hate. I have reasons, and that's why Lock and Load on my is so much higher for me than other companies. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that David Heath and the Lock and Load sent me some stuff to round up my collection. It's because they are doing these things that we've talked about throughout this whole episode. The rounding counters, the punching, you're able to punch the counters right out of the thing, which fixed two of my biggest problems right off the bat. And so I don't really care, because here's my philosophy. You know, if company X sends me one game and I don't like it, it would be better for me to tell the truth about it than to fib and lie, because for me, we all do YouTube for different reasons, right? For me, I do YouTube to tell you the way it is, how I feel. Now, some people hate the way I feel, which is fine. Some people appreciate hearing the other side of the story. Let's just put it that way. So you do YouTube for different reasons, though.
I do playthroughs.
You do a playthrough.
That's it. I don't say,
right. You enjoy the part of playing the game and introducing it to people. And
if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they go, I've done them a service, because they go, nah, that's not for me. Or, cool, that looks good. But, yeah. No. I do get sent games, and one of the biggest supporters of the channel from the start has been DVG, and it's great, and it's also great that I love DVG games. They're light, people call them beer and pretzels and all that, but they've supported me from the very beginning. I contacted them and said, look, I've just started up, and they went, yeah, what do you want? And yeah, literally, Sarah wrote back and said, yeah, what do you want? And that's it. I've been sent games from a company that I love their games. Now, if I was sent games from a company I wasn't too keen on, I don't know how I would cope with that. I do a playthrough, but again, that's why I don't do reviews, because I don't play the game enough to give an honest, in-depth review, and I'm not experienced enough like Kevin that can look through a game, no, seriously, can play a game and know whether or not the rules work, and this does this and that does that. I'm not that experienced, so I can't give a review of something. I can only say at the end, yeah, I enjoyed that. Or if I don't, I won't say I enjoyed that. I just said, I hope you enjoyed the playthrough, you know, and it's up to the intelligent viewer to make their own choice. So for me, review copies are, DVG, fantastic. I love their games, as you can see at the top there. I've got most of them. And that was before they even sent me. My first game was a DVG game, and that's it. And to be patronized by a company you love is great. And you know, I don't get tons of stuff sent. It's like they will, I loved your playthrough. What do you want next? And it's wonderful. And I'm not knocking that. If there were a company I didn't like, I'd say, well, I'm all right for the moment, actually. I'll contact you. But yeah, DVG, you know, yeah, please. I love them. It's a weird thing.
We got a couple questions.
Yep.
Because we're going to have to wrap things up in about 10 minutes or so. Let's talk about a couple questions here. So, Napoleonics PC Wargamers.
That's my buddy Ross.
Colors. Is it a decent game for a first tabletop war game?
Well, weirdly, I suggested this to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
To say, have you? You said, I've played lots of Command and Colors. I haven't, but I thought it looks pretty okay rules-wise for table. Did you want it on Tabletop Simulator or just tabletop? Sorry.
Tabletop
for a first tabletop war game.
Oh, sorry. Right, yeah. But I did suggest it because it looks okay for somebody like me to learn. So I'd say yes. I don't know what you guys think.
I love Command and Colors. I love every iteration that Richard Borg has done for Command and Colors. His Westnoth, Memoir 44, Battle Cry that he did for Avalon Hill way back in his first one, Command and Colors Ancients, Napoleonics, the Tricorn that who just did Tricorn? GMT, I think, just did Tricorn. Zvezda has a samurai one based on the. I love Command and Colors because it is a good introductory base war game to introduce people to. And the great thing about it is once you learn the base system, you know how to play every other single game, whatever iteration it is. It's just the Chrome is a little bit different for each game. But yeah, no, if I had the money, I would have every single copy of Command and Colors of every iteration there was. I am chomping at I would love to get my hands on their new medieval one that just came out with the Byzantiums, because I just love the Ottoman Empire and Byzantium and Constantinople. You know, I just love that period of time in that era. Yes, Command and Colors is a very good starter game to start off with if you don't have much experience with war games.
Is it? Sorry. Is it, though, good enough for somebody that has a bit of experience? Is it too light for them, or are they going to get enjoyment out of it?
Oh, they'll probably still get enjoyment out of it. It's what we call a con game. It is played at every con everywhere because everybody can step into it relatively easy. It is a great game. Yes.
Sounds great. Sorry, ID.
No, that's all right. I think Command and Colors, exactly like you guys, is perfect introductory war game because it teaches the basic wargaming mechanics that they'll use throughout their wargaming career. Number one. Number two is short. Normally you can get a scenario set up, played in an hour. Okay. So you got a new person that you're trying to introduce to war game. The last thing you want to do is put something on the table that takes 3 hours to set up. And then you play 3 hours and you're through one turn of 18.
And you explain.
The person's going to be like, okay, I'm done. Wargaming is not for me. So Command and Colors is probably one of the 5 games that I would recommend a new wargamer get into.
Like my son, trying to get him into it, he just don't want to know. What one would you recommend then? Napoleon, Ancients, it's medieval as well, isn't there? And
I would play whatever your favorite era is.
Well, he hasn't got one.
Well, then he needs to get one.
I just need to plop something down. Say, yeah, son, let's have a go at this.
I would probably start off with Ancients because it has the least amount of Chrome and the least amount of changes from the others. Napoleonics is fine. I like Napoleon. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy Napoleonics, but if given a chance, honestly, between either Command and Colors Napoleonics, Command and Colors Ancient, I'm gonna go running home to Ancient Rome. I prefer Ancients just a slightly bit more than Napoleonics, but I'll play Napoleonics all day long just as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to look into it then and get the Ancients. So the Ancients is the Roman era, is it?
The first one, I could probably put. There's like a half a dozen of them. The first, well, here, let me go check real quick.
Oh, right. Thank you.
You will go get it. Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's a great introductory system. It's not complex at all. It gives you enough variety. And oh, there it is.
There he is. There he is. Ah, yes. Gotcha.
Oh.
Gotcha. Right.
And there's probably 4 or 5 expansions for that out.
Yeah, and there are different expansions. There's one expansion that covers the Roman civil wars, ones that just cover, I mean, pre-ancients. We're talking sea peoples, Sumerians versus. My mind is completely slipping right now. But the actual ancients, you Numidians, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, I think there's 3 and there's another one that also covers Caesar's conquests into Gaul, and that one I want to get to.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a solid system.
Does it matter?
Solid system.
Does it matter if I get a punched or unpunched copy?
It does.
Well, here's the funny thing. Since you mentioned it, there is no counters in it.
I know they're blocks, aren't they?
Yeah, they're blocked. Yeah.
Things. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a second question up for discussion here from Joe G. Could you discuss briefly differences between playability of ASL starter kit and lock and load?
Right. Yeah.
That's like comparing apples to oranges, brother.
Yeah, they're both tactical games. They're both squad level games, but they're not even in the same wheelhouse. Lock and Load is so much easier. I don't want to say easier. It's not as well. Even the starter kit isn't that difficult, but it's still ASL. Lock and Load Tactical is far easier to play, and in my opinion, to get into than the starter kits. One of the problems with the starter kits is that they just never print enough copies, and I mean, they're on like their 3rd printing of the first starter kit, and you just can't find the starter kits out there, really. If you like heavy detail, high detail, ASL all the way. Now, I say this as an old ASL player. I cut my teeth on Squad Leader in 1980. I made the jump to ASL in the late 80s and played it off and on for 30 years. I can't do it anymore. It's too much for me. Lock and Load is my go-to tactical system now because I don't feel like I'm giving birth to an accountant every time I play it. Still love my time with ASL to no end. I am still a huge ASL fan. I just will never play it again. So if you want the detail, and there's a lot of it in ASL, go with ASL. If you want quicker, easier playability, go with Lock and Load Tactical.
I mean, I've got it, and it is complex, but the counters are minute, and with my doddly old eyes, it's a bit of a struggle. And to be honest, these counters haven't changed in 150 years. They look the same as they did in 1942, whenever it came out. With Lock and Load, and I've had a little experience with it, not a lot. The counters are like that, and it's great to look at. If you're talking about the appearance of the game, ASL starter kit, again, the maps and the counters haven't changed in 50, 60 years, whatever it is. No, what am I talking about? 40 years? 1970 when it
1979.
came. Yeah. Whereas Lock and Load Tactical looks like a modern game. The maps are superb, the counters are superb, and it's not I wouldn't. I don't know what you'd say it was on a scale of complexity compared to ASL starter kit or just ASL. It's got enough depth in it to satisfy somebody, but it's at the same time very accessible. Whereas ASL, I think you need somebody over there looking and saying, do this, do that, and you'll learn it much quicker if somebody's teaching you rather than reading the book. Whereas Lock and Load Tactical, okay, it's a big manual, but again, there's a lot of rules, but the reason there's a big manual is the font is about that big, and there's pictures and things, and it is very accessible. So I would say, if you want a tactical squad level game, is go for Lock and Load Tactical. Although it's a classic.
ASL is a classic. It is one of the best gaming systems out there. But I've had this question posed to me many times. ASL starter kit is a trap because you're only getting one section of the game. You are only getting one section of the game. So if you want to actually get into ASL starter kits, there are 4 different starter kits that you need to purchase just to get 5. Sorry,
you're forgetting there's 1, 2, and 3, the historical Japanese.
Okay, so you're up to 5 starter kits, and that is not even giving you all of the rules. Starter kit takes down ASL and it removes 3 of the most important features that make ASL different than every other game out there.
Started him off again, haven't you?
Oh, you got me riled up now.
Bypass.
So ASL is a great system. Starter kit is a great system. It's a trap. The way they designed it, we're going to buy the kit and you get into ASL. You buy the kit and you go, well, okay, where are the guns? Oh, no. That is in a different module. So you got to buy that because we don't want to put too much on you at one time. So you got to learn it really slowly and easily. We don't want to overwhelm you. So you got to buy a different module. And then you buy that module and you go, oh, now I got guns, but I got no tanks to shoot at. Oh, no. You don't understand. You got to buy another module for that part of the game. So starter kit, ASL, I think, is a trap. If you are going to get an ASL, my recommendation would be to jump in full swing and get into it and go.
And play nothing else.
Well, you don't have to necessarily not play anything else. To be good at ASL, you won't be playing anything else. But for me, if you're just wanting a good, all-around, tactical, squad-level game with easy rules, easy process, with guns and vehicles and helicopters if you go with that era, and everything else in one system that you learn, you would go with Lock and Load.
And you buy the module that interests you, the era that interests you. If you want Normandy, you buy that one. If you want modern Falklands, you buy that one. And you get what you want.
That is one of the problems with ASL is the module dependency. I had an image of just the official ASL MMP products of what you needed to own to play everything else, and it was massive. And the dependency for like King and Country, you need 3 other modules just to play all the scenarios in King and Country. That's insane, and that's not even the third-party products.
Unfortunately, they do that on purpose.
Oh yeah, I know they do. Just like they don't print enough copies. They never print enough copies.
The other issue is they purposely don't print enough copies because that way the demand and the price go up and up and up, and people are spending $300, $400, $500 on a copy because they can't get it, but they need it to play these scenarios.
Well, and the worst thing is, it's like when Hakapele came out. Guys in my gaming group, some of the guys were buying 5 or 6 copies because they knew that 2 years from now, they'd be able to double their profits.
Right.
And that irritated me more than anything else.
Well, that's not what we do this. Well, that's me. I do this to play games, not to put them on the shelf for 10 years. And
Right.
But yeah, here, I'll run up your street, OG.
Online lock and load Playbon.
Played on, I think.
Yes, we do have Vassal modules. Go to vassal.com, and pretty much all of our modules are on there for Lock and Load Tactical and on Tabletop Simulator. Everything we do have all the modules on Tabletop Simulator as well for free. Now, what we do is we only have one scenario in each one. So if you get Heroes of the Nam, it'll have one scenario in it, but it will have all the maps and all the counters available. So if you do have the full game, then you can just whatever scenario you want in there. Or this is, and I know ID wanted to get this done real quick, but I do have to make the sales pitch.
Good.
We do now offer just the scenario module booklets for purchase on their own. So you can get the rule book for free online. You can get the game with all the counters and the maps on Tabletop Simulator, and then for $30 you can buy the scenario book, and bam, for $30. Well, plus, whatever much you pay for Tabletop Simulator, you can play everything that's in the full box set. And we are also on Tabletopia. That's progressing a little bit slower than we would have liked, but it is progressing. But yes, almost all of our modules are on Vassal and Tabletop Simulator. And ID, yep, right there. There you go. Here's the Defiant scenario book. There's the Heroes of the Nam, Heroes of Normandy. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to play the game they want to play it. And we realize that digitally, that is a way a lot of people want to play it. And so we're trying to do our best to make it as easy as possible for people who want to play digitally to play digitally.
And it's on Steam as well, isn't it?
Yes, we do have Lock and Load Tactical Digital on Steam. The modules are progressing, not as quickly as we would like, but we do have several modules out for that. I think the base game is like $5, and each DLC, which has about 12 to 15 scenarios in it,
are AI as well, doesn't it? So you can play your own. Yeah,
you can with the Lock and Load Tactical Digital on Steam. You can play it against the computer, or you can play it against a living opponent. So, and
on tabletop, you have the solo decks as well now, don't you?
Yes, we do have a solo deck. Those are actually based on Academy Games, Company of Heroes solo system. We licensed it from Uwe, and it works really well. We've got it for Nations at War, World at War 85, Lock and Load Tactical. The Nations of War and World at War deck. Yep, there's the Lock and Load Tactical solo deck. And honestly, that can work with other tactical systems. I've tried it with the Advanced O'Brien system, and it works. But like I was saying, Nations of War, World at War, both have use the same solo deck. So,
and that's the.
Yep, that's it right there. The decks work for both games,
which is great. Which is
should open a shop.
I don't like just singing the praise of a company, but they could have released, here's a Lock and Load, or here's a Nations at War solo assistant, and then come out with a War of 85 solo assistant, making you charged you twice for the two different systems, but they combined it into one. And I think that's why, for me, when I look at these overall things and I see what the companies do, and I analyze every little move they make, and it either takes them up a notch or takes them down a notch based on what they do. And when you release the rules for free online, 20 different ways, free modules with Lock and Load, the Vassal module, which is great. Unfortunately, for some reason, people don't even know about Vassal, and they don't use it for some reason. But it's a great module out there. If you want all the pretty interface, the Tabletop Simulator's just spot on. And then with the what is that actual called where they split the stack splitter? What is that?
Oh, the stack exploder. Yes,
the stack exploder. So with that in the game, makes it so much easier than having to move counters around. So definitely evolving quickly and nice as well. So I think it's you know, for me, it's all these little things that add up for me. You know, that when I see somebody like that's why I went off on GMT, right? When they reprint a game a few years after they released it, and then they charge people $45 to get the upgrade kit, that is ridiculous. So for me, GMT went down about 5 notches when I found out that. That's ridiculous.
It's gone quiet. Yes, it was a bit bad, I must admit. It put me off the game. But there you go. Things happen. Poo happens, doesn't it? You know.
But I will point out, people bought it.
Yeah, people love it.
Keep doing it unless we vote with our pocketbooks.
It's got a very, very strong following, I understand. So, you know, people work around it, don't they? If they want the game, love the system, they'll work around it. We've all done it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's nothing. For me, it's just the flavor of it that was wrong. Okay. When I go to Columbia Games and I can see on their pre-order list, there's a bunch of pre-orders that they got. One of the pre-order thing is reprinting some of the counters and the sheets that they misprinted from one of their games. And they are charging you, I think it's, now don't quote me, but I think it was like $6 and free shipping as long as you buy a game that it can, you know, the box is big enough for the counter sheet to go on top of so it doesn't bend or anything like that. That's all they're charging you. That's what GMT should have done. They should have said, we screwed up. We're not charging you $45 for a new game after you have already bought this game for $69. If you want the upgrade kit, buy another game from us. We'll include it for $10 or whatever it costs us to manufacture it. But they did.
Yeah, I said before, and again, I'm mentioning DVG, but they made some mistakes with some cards, errata, some of the rules in their games. They said, sorry, we're doing an errata pack. All you need to do is pay for the postage, and we'll send you it. So you
and
cards, you know.
I mean, they do the punch-out counters too, which is super nice. Thick counters.
But yeah, there's no excuse.
Quality components. So for me, DVG is keep moving up and moving up. Everything they produce has been really nice. Everything I've gotten. You know, I bought Tiger Leader because I'm a big Tiger fan, you know, tank fan, right? And then I bought the Sherman Leader, but there was an update between the two systems, between Tiger Leader and Sherman Leader. There was an update on how you do things and all that. When I bought Sherman Leader, the Tiger Leader upgrade kit came with it for free.
Yeah.
For free, wrapped in the same shrink as the Sherman Leader was your free update to Tiger Leader.
So there's lessons to be learned for other companies. You know, it can be done. Obviously, you know, it's their mistake. It's probably costing them a few bob to do the errata, but they've got to keep their customers happy, and that's the main thing, I think. So some companies get it right.
I agree. I mean, every company's run different. You know, to be honest, there's not a company that I look down on and say, oh, I would never buy something from GMT or from Compass Games or MMP. I personally am not a big ASL, as somebody's already mentioned, not me, by the way. I was not the one that mentioned this, but they are using the same counters that they did back in the 70s.
Yeah.
They have not evolved at all. So for me, I won't be buying any of their ASL stuff. Now, I think that they're...
I think the problem with ASL, they're culture.
Their Panzer battle system, you know, the standard combat system is wonderful. I've actually got the Napoleonic Brigade system, which is no longer in print from them. But I think MMP all around is a good company. I'm not a big fan of what they've done with ASL, personally.
Well, as I say, they're caught in a trap. They've been going since 79, is it? And if they updated their counters, what's these guys going to say with 40,000 American counters that they need that look different to the new ones they've dated. I know.
Which is probably why they have not updated.
Yeah, they're caught in that trap.
They could, and they probably won't, but they could produce new counters with new graphics and the old counters with the old graphics and sell them as a choice. Do you want the new ones? Do you want the old ones? I'm just saying.
I don't know.
They could do that. Not that they would, but they could. Now they probably, like you said, there's thousands of players out there that have thousands and thousands and thousands of counters, and they wouldn't want to replace all of them, which is understandable. But that's why they haven't evolved that much.
Well, but I like their other systems. I like the SCS system, the GTS system. I haven't looked at the OCS system. Tony's board life keeps threatening to teach me. Good luck to that. But SCS is OCS.
That's the biggie.
Scaled down. They're both operational level, but scaled down. But SCS, GTS, they look fine. And for tactical stuff, I'm sorry to keep going back, and it's not because Devin's here. It's Nations at War, World at War 85, and I've got to get into tactical. I've sort of dabbled-dibbled in it, but it looks great. That's going to be the squad level, and my tactical level is Nations at War and World at War. Must admit, I like Panzer Grenadier as well, but it's a completely different game. It's a different way of winning as well. You've got to beat them down, over 30 turns, which when I'm in the mood, that's fine. But I do like chucking a few dice around, and that's what I get with them games. I'll tell you, I love it. Get in that tower.
Well, that is the one thing that got me out of the Panzer, because I owned half a dozen Panzer Grenadier games back in the day. But it was like, all right, I spend 5 turns. It's like peeling an onion.
Yeah.
Spend 5 turns wearing down this stack, then move on to this stack and spend 5 turns where I get it. There are people who enjoy it. More power to them. It moves too slow for me. I just don't.
I've got to be in the mood. And but if I want to chuck some dice, yes, I know I'm going for. I know what's coming off the shelf, So,
well, I mean, there's lots of different games for lots of different tastes. So, I mean, we're not all the same. We're all going to have. I mean, I'm now into Napoleonic games. I'm looking for Napoleonic games. I've been trying to learn the different systems. I got the Napoleonic Brigade system. I'm like, where did this come from? I don't know. I think
I'm going to warn you right now.
It was ruining me or something.
Don't go into La Bataille. La Bataille is the squad leader of the Napoleonics game, and you do not want to go into La Bataille. I almost tripped myself into La Bataille, but I pulled myself out of it. So, but there are
last question here from Brad62. ASL starter kit is a tempting choice in that you'll just deal with infantry rules.
Yeah,
enjoy without the armor stuff, and I could just sit and play that. Yes, you can. If that's all you're interested in is playing with infantry and basic ASL, that's what it's there for.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to get the starter kits, and that was it. That was going to be enough for me. But unfortunately, people like Devin and you and all the other guys that do YouTube stuff have steered me away, and I've got all this stuff. Thank goodness.
Sure, it's all our fault. You hear that, Devin?
Honestly, I'll accept the blame for that one. If that's all I'm getting blamed for, I'm perfectly cool with that.
Cool.
But my advice for ASL starter kits, little though it means, is that get the starter kits and be happy with those. Don't, for goodness sake, go and buy Advanced Squad Leader, and then you've got to go and buy, what's the first expansion you've got to buy?
Beyond Valor. You have to have Beyond Valor. It has all the German, Russian, and all the admin markers. You cannot play
with a rule book like that, don't you?
Yeah.
No, stick with the starter kits. If you think ASL is for you, stick with the starter kits is my advice. See how you get on with the infantry.
My advice, if you're going to get into ASL, find a local group, find yourself a mentor, because you're never going to be able to self-teach yourself the game. That's just the way it is. I had probably one of the best mentors in the country for a while, and as wonderful as a mentor Sam was, he wasn't good enough to keep me into the game. I just got too tired of it. But I understand why people like it, and that would be my advice. Get a group that knows how to teach you.
And see if you like it. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, it looks like time is come as the door just opened, and I got the look of.
Is that the wife?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So it's been great talking with you guys. We learned lots of good stuff. Devin shared some insight for us, all the upcoming games from Lock and Load, which is really nice. We got to hear your guys' views on the evolution of wargaming and the fact that you guys are still stuck in the 70s and 80s.
We don't care.
And we learned a lot of other good, important things. So,
and it's been an honor, gents, for me to sit in the middle between two giants.
I'm no giant.
It's been an honor, sir. It's been an honor.
It's been an honor for me as well, Rough Swordsman. And of course, as always, Mr. ID Jester.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, everyone that came out tonight, we do appreciate it. Very good time as always, gotten to talk, and look forward to having both of you guys on again.
Look forward to it.
There's always stuff. I mean, there's literally like 10 other things that we wanted to talk about. But if we can get Rough Swordsman to shut up for more than 5 minutes, we could get through some of these things.
I think I was talking more than he was.
And we're not going to mention Wing Leader or
Stratomac.
Yeah, that's that one. Yeah, I mentioned them.
All right, guys. Well, we got to sign off. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you to our wonderful guests today, Russ Swordsman and the OG. Be sure to check out, subscribe to their channels, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, thank you.